LCD, OLED, mini LED, QD LED, micro LED, VA, IPS. So in a few minutes, I'll be breaking all of this down for you, and you'll get to know exactly which TV is the best for you. TV comes in two main categories. First is transmissive displays, and the second is emissive displays. Transmissive displays use a backlight and manipulate the light to create these images. Emissive displays, on the other hand, generate their own light, so no backlight is needed, which obviously equates to perfect blacks. Under emissive displays, we have organic LEDs, which are named so because they have compounds that contain carbon. Inorganic LEDs, like MicroLED, is named so because they have inorganic compounds like gallium nitride in it. OLEDs, on the other hand, are only manufactured by two companies, which is LG, and they call it W-OLED, and Samsung, which call it QD-OLED. Inorganic LEDs, on the other hand, are somewhat of a future tech. It's not commercially viable as of now. Now let's move on to transmissive displays. Transmissive displays split into backlight and the LCD panel itself. First, let's talk about the LCD. The LCD now can be of different types over here. The first one is VA, which is cheaper, and IPS, in-plane switching, which is more expensive. Backlight, on the other hand, as of today, the most efficient way of powering a backlight is via LED. Now, LED can be placed either on the edge or behind the LCD, and the greater the density, the greater is the control over the backlight. Obviously, if you increase the density of the LED, that means the cost goes up. So edge LED would be the cheapest and mini LED would be the most expensive. These are the main TV technologies which are out there. Now you can ask the question as to why there are so many types of TV technologies. The purpose is very simple: to create the perfect TV. Now there are 5 main things that constitute a perfect TV. The first thing is contrast and black levels. The second thing is brightness and HDR. Third is color accuracy. Fourth is response time and motion handling. Fifth is viewing angles. Now the TV technology which has all of these 5 things will be dubbed as the perfect TV, provided the costs are comparatively low. Now, since we've spoken about these 5 essential things that a perfect TV needs to have, between transmissive and emissive displays, what do each type of displays lack? Let's see. Now with emissive displays, they have problems with brightness and HDR. The performance in brightness and HDR is subpar. With transmissive displays, they lack in 3 scenarios out of 5. So the first thing is viewing angle, second is contrast and black levels, and the third is response time and motion. Now out of these 3 things, only viewing angle and contrast can be corrected via enhancements. Response time and motion sadly cannot be corrected because these are inherent flaws in this kind of technology. How do you correct viewing angles and contrast and black levels? Viewing angles is corrected by using an IPS panel. Contrast and black levels, on the other hand, is corrected via local dimming and by using mini LED. So if you want a TV which is a transmissive display and you want to have perfect or near perfect contrast and black levels, then you should be going with a VA panel with a mini LED backlight and with a local dimming enhancement. Now let's talk about quantum dot layer a little bit. Now the quantum dot layer, what it essentially does is if you pass a blue light through it, the quantum dot layer lets the blue light pass, but some of the blue light is filtered into red or green, depending on what is needed. So this quantum dot layer, the principle of quantum dot layer, can be applied anywhere where there's a blue light on the backlight. So if you want to increase color accuracy, you should go with a display which has quantum dot layer in it. If you're going for a transmissive display and let's say you want great viewing angles and as well as good contrast and black levels, and you want great color reproduction as well, so you would go with IPS panel with mini LED, a quantum dot layer and local dimming. Now, when you go for such a TV, it will increase your budget and you will be entering into emissive display technology territory, essentially OLEDs. So there might be a little clash over there. Now that you've seen what exactly is the scenario out there, if you're still feeling confused, let's look at another chart which will simply break it down for you. So in this chart, we'll have the 5 factors that we're looking at to make the perfect TV, and then we'll be comparing emissive as well as transmissive displays. The first thing is contrast and black levels. Emissive displays have the ball over here. 10 on 10, they're perfect. But on the other hand, transmissive displays, contrast and black levels, local dimming does help, but it's not perfect since they can't individually switch on and off the pixels. Brightness and HDR, this is somewhere that emissive displays lack. It is decent, but if you have a bright lit room, then it's a no-go. Transmissive displays, on the other hand, because they are using LEDs and especially with mini LEDs, they can get super bright. Color accuracy, again, emissive displays have transmissive displays beat over here. Color accuracy is fantastic, and in QD-OLED is even more better. Transmissive displays, on the other hand, the quantum dots, again, as we discussed, quantum dots do tend to better the color accuracy, but it gets expensive as well. Response time and motion, this is somewhere that a transmissive display cannot compete, simply because this is the inherent flaw of the technology. OLEDs are almost instantaneous over here. Viewing angles, again, emissive displays, they have great viewing angles. IPS does mitigate some of the VA's drawbacks, but still, they're not as great as OLEDs. VA, in fact, is so bad that if you try to go beyond 30 degrees of field of view, the colors, contrast, everything just drops down drastically. Budget for emissive displays, you need to have a high budget. They are expensive to manufacture. They do need an investment. Transmissive displays, on the other hand, they are available at every budget. You'll find a TV even at an OLED budget. So which one is the best? I'll be giving out 3 categories over here: the best overall, the best budget, and the best for bright rooms. The best overall, my vote goes to W-OLED, which is by LG, C4 or G4, depending on your requirements. And the best for bright rooms, I would go with mini LEDs, which are generally manufactured by TCL, Hisense, or Samsung. The best budget would go to a VA panel with fully array local dimming. Those are relatively cheap, and you get a decent trade-off. Now that you know the difference between all of these tech and the TVs which are out there, let me know in the comment section below which TV are you gonna buy.